Wagwan family, welcome back to another wonderful episode of Montego Baby's Jamaican Cuisine. Today we have featured something very simple and easy to do. You know, for the hard-working people out there who come home and say, boy, you don't have a lot of time to really spend around the stove. You know, this you can really do real quick in about 30 minutes or so time. What I'm talking about is basically some curry chicken pasta, right? So how we'll do it today, we'll do it with some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You know, you can really use chicken breast if you'd like. You can even put shrimp in there if you'd like. But for today, I'm just utilizing some boneless, skinless chicken thighs in my version today. Okay? So, you know, you're really gonna enjoy this one. Like I said, it's gonna be short and sweet. I'm gonna show you everything and how it's done. So stay tuned and we'll show you what's going on. Alright, so what we have here, you know, like I said, we have about 1.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs, you know, diced up small, or cut up small I should say. What I did was I seasoned this an hour ahead, probably about an hour or two ahead, in 1 teaspoon of curry powder. I did 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and half a teaspoon of onion powder. Okay? Then we kind of mix that together and make it go and sit for a few, you know, for an hour or so, and you know, basically get himself ready. So we have a curry powder right here. We have 1 clove of garlic. We have about you know, basically a quarter piece of onion here. We diced up really small. We have 1 carrot, you know, to basically just give a little bit of complexity within the food. And we have about 2 pieces of scallion right here. A little piece of thyme. And then we're gonna put a little bit of the ginger in there as well. Alright? So everything kind of already seasoned up ahead. So we'll kind of get everything going right now on the stove. And like I said, since we're gonna be doing it with pasta, normally my preferred pasta, because I don't like thick pastas, you know, I normally go with our angel hair pasta. It's very thin. And you know, for me personally, I like it better. But you can really use whatever pasta you would like. Like I say, you know, with all my dishes, I like to tell you know, everyone they can really make it their own, right? So everything kind of ready to go now. So now we're gonna move over to the stove and get this thing cooking. Right. All right. So we're gonna start off with our stove with you know, at a little bit less than medium high, right about there. So our pot is hot right now. So now we're gonna get some olive oil in. You know, like I said, you can always kind of use, you know, whatever oil, you know, you prefer. But for me personally, this is a little bit better for my stomach. So what I'm gonna do is put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Alright. Let that get a little bit warm. And like I said, normally when you cook curry, you always want to do a thing called burn the curry, like I mentioned before in one of my previous videos. So burning the curry don't mean you're actually gonna burn it, but you're just gonna basically, you know, get the flavor going. So right now what we're gonna do is add about half a teaspoon of curry powder. Since you already kind of added some curry, you know, when we let it marinate it earlier, we're not gonna put a whole lot in there right now. So we put about half a teaspoon of that. And let that go and get happy. Alright. Don't really need to do this for too long, probably about a minute. Kind of seeping in there a little bit. But to kind of mix it around a little so it don't, you know, it don't get caked up or anything like that. Kind of loosen everything up. It go all around the pot. This is also gonna give the curry a wonderful color. Okay. Alright. So since that's kind of going right now, we're gonna put in our onion. We'll get our onion in. Try to cut it up as small as you can, but not too small. Go and caramelize a little bit. Couple seconds, and we're gonna put in our garlic. Let me say 1 clove of garlic. Cut up small. Get that in. Alright. See all those wonderful flavors kind of release in the oil right now. And I'm getting ready for the meat to go in. Okay? You can smell this, boy. I love the smell of when the stuff, you know, the curry and when the onion hit that oil, man, it give a wonderful, wonderful scent. Okay? Alright, so you're not gonna do this, like I said, for too long. Once you get in these things, you probably make it run to about you know, a little bit less than a minute. And then now we're gonna get our chicken in. Since this doesn't have any bones in it, it's not gonna take a long time to cook. Okay? So the first thing you do once you get it in, try to make sure so it's, you know, evenly distributed in the pot. And you don't want to add any water in right off the top. You know, you're gonna kind of cover this and let it kind of release whatever water it has naturally first for probably about, I'd say probably about 5 minutes. So cover this for about 5 minutes. Let it go and cook a little bit, and then we'll kind of see where we are with the water level. So check back with me in a sec. Alright, so 5 minutes has passed, so we're gonna take a look at the meat right now. Alright, starting to look good, starting to look good. We get a little holder. Little pot holder. Alright, let's take a look. Alright, beautiful. So I never really release a whole lot of water, which is fine, because, you know, like I said, boneless, skinless, so I don't really have a lot of ways to hold water, you know what I mean? So, this look good. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna add in some water to this, right? Right here I have about 2.5 cups of water. Let me add in 2 cups and see how that looks. Alright, 2 cups look really nice right now. So kind of make that run a little bit. Matter of fact, just put it all in there. Alright? So we just add the whole 2.5 cups of water. Since that's not boiling yet, what we're gonna do, we're gonna add our carrot in right now. So once that starts to boil, the carrot will start cooking, because these sometimes take a little time to cook. So we want to get the full cook time. Alright, like that. We have our scallion right here. Gonna add that in right now as well. Alright, and then we have our piece of thyme. I'm gonna add that in right now as well. Okay? Alright, so we're gonna cover this and let it start to, you know, boil, and then we'll kind of taste the flavor and see where we're at. So let this get to a boil, and then we once it starts to boil up, we'll open it and then we'll taste it and see what's going on. While that's doing its thing, you have a pot of water over here, not hot or anything like that. What we're gonna do is start our pasta. Normally I like to put my pasta in before the water starts to get hot. Basically it kind of helps so it don't stick. Okay? Alright, so I mean you can kind of add whatever amount of pasta you'd like, but for me I probably will add about half of the bag right now, since I cook for a few people. See? Alright, so you don't really have to do what I'm doing here as far as, you know, breaking the pasta, which is what I'm going to do now. I normally like to break my pasta in half. Really kind of helps. It's like multiplying the amount that you put in here. Alright, so that look good right now. We need a little bit more. Normally when I make this, it kind of runs fast, see? So, add a little bit more. There's a little salt in there as well. I'm gonna cover this up. Turn it up to about medium high. And let that start to boil. You're not gonna really let this cook too long. Once it starts to boil, you're probably gonna let it boil for probably about 3 minutes after it starts to bubble. Okay. All right. So once you give it about 3 minutes, try to test and see how how hard it is. And if it's too hard, then you give it another minute. If it's not too hard and it's soft enough, then you can pull it, because it's gonna finish its cooking time in the sauce itself. Alright? So just check back with me in a little bit and we'll see what's going on once this stuff starts to boil up. Alright, so this thing here, once it started to boil, I pull the top and basically let it cook without the top on top of it for about 5-6 minutes or so. Let it try to kind of get rid of some of that water here, evaporate some of that water outside of it. So now we're gonna taste it and see what we need. Alright, so right off the top we know we need a little bit more salt right now. We didn't put a lot in there initially when we seasoned the meat. So I'm gonna put about a teaspoon of salt. Make sure you get a full teaspoon, is it? Alright. 1 teaspoon of salt. And then again, I'm gonna put a little chicken bouillon. I'll put about a teaspoon of that. One teaspoon of that. Get in. Alright. Now we're gonna grate in a little bit of ginger. Remember that bump of ginger that I showed you earlier? Alright, so we're gonna put a little bit of that inside. You're not gonna do all of this, probably just half of that little piece I showed you. Okay? Alright, so that should be good enough. Beautiful. Alright, now, at this point in time, if you wanted to add a little bit of spice to it, you can put a little piece of Scotch bonnet pepper or a little bit of chili flakes, whichever suits your needs. But for me, I'm just gonna leave it natural today. Not gonna deal with the spice today, right? So, since we get all that stuff in, I'm gonna kind of mix it around a little bit. Let this boil for about 3 minutes. And then we're gonna taste the flavor and see where we're at here with flavor. Alright? So just a few. Alright, so we had this thing boiling here, and I forgot to tell you guys, once I had pulled the top off the pot, I turned my stove back up to medium high. So I just wanted to mention that. And of course I'll have the recipe in the description box, so I'll include all of that stuff there. But this now has been bubbling here for about 4 minutes or so. So right now what we're gonna do is just taste the flavor. Alright, flavor level, salt level is good. So I had a complaint earlier, so we can't really do the curry without no pepper, so I wasn't gonna do it before, but now I have to. So I'm gonna put a little piece of pepper in this. The piece of Scotch bonnet pepper. You can kind of put how, whatever amount you would like. But me probably just add about two little pieces, right? Right, maybe 3. I will love the pepper still, is it? Alright. So since that's ready to go, what we'll do now, add in with pasta. So once like I said earlier, once my pasta started to boil up, I pull the top and make it boil for about 4 minutes, drain it off, and now we're gonna add it into the curry. Alright, so since it's fully drained, we're gonna go ahead and add this into our curry. Alright. then you will kind of understand now why we did that much water. All that water is basically gonna be a sauce. Okay? Alright. So, and this will kind of, you know, thicken up a little bit, but not too much. It's still gonna be a little bit loose. We don't want it too thick at all. So what I normally do is get a little tongue and kind of mix it in there. Alright. Now if you're gonna be doing shrimp, since shrimp don't really take too long to cook, you're probably gonna want to get the pasta ready ahead. That way when you know the shrimp kind of halfway to cook, you're gonna basically add in the pasta so you don't overcook the shrimp, right? You know, me personally, I don't really eat shrimp no more. You know, I can't really do a demonstration of how to do that part of it, but you know, just do your best. You already know shrimp don't really take too long to cook, so just kind of gauge your times and you'll be just fine. Alright, so you're not going to really cook this for too much longer. Just going to kind of mix it in, make sure so everything kind of get fully blended. Since the chicken pretty much already cooked. It doesn't really take a long time at all. You know? So the majority of this time is really just mixing in everything. Alright? Alright, beautiful. Right now we don't want this to boil out no more than where it is, because we don't need all that wonderful sauce to eat with your pasta. Okay? As you can see, I was mixing this around for probably about a minute and a half to 2 minutes. And really that's all you need. Okay? Alright, so everything kind of good to go. Chicken is cooked. Pasta is cooked. So now we're gonna plate and see how it all look. Straight. Alright family, the boat dock. Everything ready to go. Food tasting wonderful. And you know, it was basically another pleasure, you know, bringing what I love to you guys to view. So, you know, like me always say, from my home to yours, Montego baby, you know, one love and much respect. Straight.